Hi, Intro to Algebra. It's a great idea if you have this video open and you kind of have in another tab your document open so you're able to type on it while we do this together. So you can see that the goal here is to convert each equation into slope-intercept form and then identify the slope and the y-intercept. And here's slope-intercept form just to remind you. So we want the y all by itself on one side. So here's that y, and when we're done, it'll be all by itself over here on this side. To get that, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And then what am I left with? Well, then I just have y equals negative 3x plus 4. And that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted this in slope-intercept form. And this is now in y equals mx plus b form, so that's finished. So my slope, and you can type m for slope, my slope is negative 3. And my y-intercept, which we often label as b, my b is 4. So that would be useful if we had to graph it. And in this case, we're not going to have to graph it. Okay, here I need to get this y all by itself. But it has that negative 2, and we're going to have to deal with that later. First, let's try to get rid of that x. So we can do that by subtracting x on both sides. And then, what are we left with? Well, don't forget that negative sign goes with the 2y. And then on this side, we have negative x plus 4. And now this is a lot like solving literal equations like we did before. We're going to have to divide everything by negative 2 to get that y all by itself. And so I might just type that. So now I've got y equals negative x plus 4 divided by 2. It's a great idea to use the parentheses like that. Another way that you can do this if you want to be fancy is you go up here to Insert Equation, and then you can type y equals, and it will let you make a little fraction here. So in the top of our fraction, we want to write negative x plus 4. And in the bottom of our fraction, we're going to write the 2. Now, we want to simplify one step further because this is not quite slope-intercept form. So remember that negative x is like a negative 1x. Okay, great. So now I can really figure out what these fractions are going to look like. This is going to be y equals negative 1/2 x, because the 1 was right here, and then we've got the 2 in the denominator. And then 4 divided by 2 gives me 2. So negative 1/2 x plus 2. Okay, so then our slope, well, the slope is the number that gets multiplied by the x, so our slope is negative 1/2, and our y-intercept is, of course, that plus 2. Okay, so now this one, the y is almost by itself. We really just have to get rid of this plus 1. Okay, so we can do that by subtracting 1. And then we've got y equals, and then on this side, we're just going to have 1/4 x minus 1. So you can type it that way, or you can try and do the insert equation if you'd rather. Now, again, remember that the 1/4, that's going to be our slope, and our y-intercept. This time the y-intercept is negative, because we have a minus 1. So that's a negative y-intercept. B is negative 1. Now, on this one, we've just got to get rid of that negative 2x. Great. So I can do that by adding 2x to both sides. And then I've got y all by itself, so I'm already done. And then I have 2x plus 0, but I can just leave that as 2x. You might want to write it in both ways because one way makes it really easy to see the y-intercept. So either way, I can see the slope is 2. But the y-intercept I can see really clearly in this form. The y-intercept is 0. And that's it. That's what you're going to do for each problem. And we did 4 together, and you're going to do these 4 down here on your own.